Hello and welcome to the show. This is Sunflower State of Mind, recording live from KCDI Studios. Was that a new intro?
Whoa,
is that what we just witnessed?
That was catchy.
That was very catchy. Yeah, I've been hard at work last couple of days.
Kent's been
busy. I got
night oil, as the boomers would say.
I personally really dig all the sunflowers, so.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. It was one of your. You said one of your favorites at one point in time. I guess that's why it was so easy to pick this name. Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
it was so easy for us
my
to
personal
change
favorite is.
She was
yeah,
so ready
absolutely.
for the name change. She got a tattoo.
Yep.
Past.
That is what happened.
In the past. She knew exactly where we were going.
I had a vision of this moment.
So tonight we kind of did things a little bit different in a lot of ways. Obviously a new intro. We don't have events tonight, and we were talking and we kind of wanted to put it on the audience to see what you guys think. If events is something that you tune in for and you kind of want to know what's going on and you want us to continue to do that, it takes up about 10 to 15 minutes of the show. And that's also 10 to 15 minutes that we could be interviewing guests or talking about various projects. Or
sure.
We've even started recording little side bits that we could play in place of it. And so tonight we don't have events, but we are going to have a poll on our Facebook page and want everybody to vote on that. By all means,
absolutely.
Get in the comments. Let us know. We'll talk about it. It's not dead. We're not quitting it, but trying without it.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Could be fun. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. You know,
like, present events before the show on the page, or if you guys would like to like submit an event, even if it's just you discussing that event and how excited you are, or what's necessary to bring, or
we'd love to interview you about your event.
Video.
Yeah, we'd love to interview about your event or a gathering.
It seems like
whatever you've got.
A lot of the events are either A, being repeated, or B, are the same events that happen a lot. Like the Garden City Arts.
We use Facebook, to be honest.
If you're curious about it, you can always find out pretty easily yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But we still have show sponsors that we have to mention. And our first one up is Dude Smell This, LLC, out of Hayesville, Kansas, 920 East Grand. You can get all of your CBD oils, wax, soaps, lotions, dog treats, I think even. All sorts of different CBD things by visiting them online at dudesmellthisllc.com. I want to thank them for sponsoring the show.
Yes, thank you.
For us tonight. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we got another new sponsor for this week. Zach, you spent some time. You want to roll this one in?
Yeah, I wanted to rep my own personal barber, so to speak, where I go get a shave, since clearly I don't get that much of a haircut. But yeah, we put together a little commercial for him.
Yes.
Awesome.
But
that's such a story.
My boy goes and gets his haircut there, and I definitely recommend him often. And for those that get haircuts often, that's one of the best places you can go in town. I think he's right there off Main Street. Got a beautiful little building. It's very modern looking inside. So yeah, absolutely. Caitlin, you had the story.
Before you go, I need to plug. If you want a commercial, or an ad, flyer, let us know at on the show messenger, or message Zach, myself, Caitlin, Whitney individually, and we'd be happy to set up something for you and do a video ad for your commercial. You don't even have to run it here on the show if you don't want to. We'd love you to advertise here on the show. We reach thousands of people through all of our social media networking. We're not just on Facebook. We're on YouTube and Twitch and Twitter as well. So advertising with us, gets you out to maybe an audience you haven't seen before. And I think it's a lot more effective than radio advertising on social media these days. So let us know. We'd be happy to do a flyer or a video ad, voiceovers, whatever you need. We're dabbling in website design and other things as well. So digital tech guys here for you. So yeah, we have lots of time and we want your money.
So
I interrupted.
Are we going for a story here?
Yes, let's do it.
This one's a good one.
Yes, okay, so as I do, highly recommend. Oh my god, I always do this. Just yank my headphones out of my earballs. So scrolling on Reddit, highly recommend the subreddit Kansas, just Kansas. Yes. I get a lot of my news there. People are really good about updating things that pertain to the state. Keep each other accountable pretty well. Somebody tried to post some adjacent news, which was some Missouri law that would affect Kansans as well. And so, but they got pretty ribbed for it. But it's a Kansas page. Anywho, there's this photo and a post. If you'll put it up there, somebody goes, "Hey, here's this business," and it says,
14 words by David Lane.
Thank you. 14 words by David Lane on the truck. Yeah. Okay. So this was 4 days ago, this original post, and pretty quickly, within an hour, 2 hours, of course, people were calling the business. It had gone well on Google their social media. Yes. Google reviews, Facebook, things like that. And then maybe another hour later, the post got removed because of the doxing rule, and somebody reposted it and said, "Listen, arguably, this guy is public, advertising on his work truck, You can get this information from the public. There's no like onus of anonymity.
What does the 14 words mean?
So that is according to the Anti-Defamation League, these words come from a reference to a white supremacist slogan: "We must secure the existence of our people and a future for white children." So yeah, so it then it continues to escalate. So the slogan was coined by David Lane, a member of the white supremacist terrorist group known as the Order.
And not to interrupt, but just the audacity of somebody willing to put something like that on the side of their vehicle for their business. Just imagine what they would do behind closed doors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was the whole thing I find very interesting. So the term reflects the primary white supremacist worldview in the late 20th and early 21st centuries that unless immediate action is taken, the white race is doomed to extinction by an alleged rising tide of color purportedly controlled and manipulated by Jews, the ADL website reports. According to the State of Kansas Office of the Secretary of State Business Entity Identification Number, the owner of the business, Kansas Air Seeder Service, is Ross Hack of Hutchinson. Hack has owned the business since 2018. Hack listed a Wichita address on the incorporation documents, but according to the current owner of the Wichita address, he bought the home in 2021 from a trust. As of 2021, the business documents report the Hutchinson address as the primary address. The owner of the business, Kansas Air Seeder Service, was called by the news but did not return the call. Since then, the phone has been disconnected and the social media page was taken down, but the website still exists. Exapta Solutions, a company based in Kansas, went on the social media site and said they would no longer do business with Kansas Air Seeder Service. The president of Exapta emailed a reply to the news regarding the situation. A former employee who left Exapta in September of 2021 had given a testimonial for Kansas Air Seeders. Emily Downs, the president and CEO of Exapta Solutions, wrote in an email, "Exapta Solutions ended any relationship with Kansas Air Seeders as soon as a message on their work vehicle was brought to our attention on 3/17/23. So Hack 51 reported to the Reno County Public Information Site just before 10 a.m. on Sunday that he was receiving harassing phone calls from numerous people over the last several days. Who is Ross Hack? Hack was brought to trial along with Leland Jones for allegedly being the masterminds behind a 1998 murder of two men who were thought to be killed for opposing racial ethnic prejudice. Both Hack and Jones were acquitted of the two killings that took place in Northwest Las Vegas. According to the Las Vegas Review-Journal, Julia Gegenheimer from the Justice Department Civil Rights Division said the pair plotted those murders along with four other white supremacist neo-Nazi skinheads. The lawyers for the defense argued there was no physical evidence that linked their clients with the murders. The Review-Journal reported Hack's sister, Melissa Hack, and his former girlfriend, Mandy Abels, have pled guilty in federal court to conspiracy to commit murder. Both women said they were following Ross Hack's instructions when they lured the victims to the deserted area where they were ambushed and killed. So that is, to answer your question, who does that? Somebody who has been already seen actively as a white supremacist. So that's not funny. You just have to laugh because it's.
I mean, I hate it when I'm right sometimes.
Yeah.
It's gross.
I will say that the internet immediately attacking his business and letting them know exactly what they think of his commentary is the result of the fuck around and find out generation. Gen Z does not play.
I'm not sure what he did, when that got put on there. Apparently it's been on there since the incorporation, so since 2021. So I'm not sure what he thought would I don't know if he thought he would have I
have no doubt that it was there for a long time, but it took somebody to know what it was and have the wherewithal to take a picture of it and to post it for everybody to have the outrage. I had no idea what that meant prior to reading the story. So, I mean, it just shows that there's blatant racism everywhere and right in front of your face sometimes, and those that are racist know. And so it kind of is interesting because Caitlin, what was Oh.
Okay, so
Sorry, I just saw my wife's
somebody
comment.
from
Yeah.
somebody in Reddit was like, "Yo, Kansas, there's this guy who has this printed on his work truck, and like and that was kind of the post. Does everybody realize what this is?" And so that was the discussion that started to go. And as the internet does, like Zach mentioned, fucking around and finding out, they figured some stuff out, and then that post got taken down for doxing. And so then it got reposted. So in that slew of events, the owner claims that he was harassed by people from the internet, and then shut down his social media, like ways to be contacted. But so come to find out, it's like unsurprising that a person like this would put something on their work truck, as he has been previously already investigated for specifically white supremacy.
Guy, so I mean,
yes,
in a different world, unfortunately, we live in this.
Well, yeah, there's cameras and video everywhere now. If you're gonna do dumb stuff like that, people are just gonna be all over absolutely. It. And so you should be ready to defend yourself. And if you're gonna put yourself out there that way, then you're gonna have to be able to own it too. So
he has the absolute freedom of speech, and that's a granted right in this country. You do not have the freedom of consequence in this country, right. And that's what happens. So yeah, I hope it hurts him tremendously, and I hope he learns a hard lesson about it. So it's interesting that Reddit's response though was to take it down, saying that we don't dox, even though this is something that he publicly put on his own vehicle, so he clearly isn't ashamed of it. But
notably, the second post still exists because the newspaper got a hold of it. So I don't know if you guys linked that link, but there is an article in Hutchinson News that went over it. So right thank you.
There's still newspapers?
Mm-hmm. Online journalism.
I remember having one of those.
It's really weird,
It's been a minute.
And that's what spawned this podcast or live stream, was
newspaper.
And we don't. And, nobody's out there talking about anything. You just hear what the mainstream media or the main pundits want you to hear. And social media is such a mess. You don't get a real version of anything or how normal average people are being affected by the things that are going on. Even if we misunderstand it, we at least get on and we get to talk about it. But we've spurred out of that some other Garden City podcasts. It's kind of crazy.
We did.
What's going on right now? We saw online, the Garden City Area Chamber of Commerce shared a podcast, One Stop Resource Podcast, and they were talking about housing here in Southwest Kansas, and they said it's not a quantity issue, it's more of a quality issue. Is that how they put it, Caitlin?
Quoted on the photo there. Biggest barrier in housing is quantity and then the quality.
Yeah. So
haven't had a chance to give a listen.
I haven't yet either. I can't find them online. And then there's this one that Garden City Downtown Vision shared. Former Mayor Reynaldo Mesa and Anthony Cruz on their new adventure, I See Your Point podcast. It's coming out, and looks like they interviewed Downtown Vision, which is kind of cool. I used to do that on Growing Garden City. It's kind of the same premise there. I kind of think of what they're doing, highlighting businesses, and which, we want to do the same thing here. So, but, to us, it's silly or funny that these got mentioned by the chamber. It kind of makes us feel like, we're just out here saying things that nobody wants to hear or has the balls to say. I
was going to say, I think a lot of people do want to hear it, but
Yeah.
You can't be
And
seen approving of the things that we're saying.
well, no, and we do know that more of you disagree with us than what you do disagree with us, and it's kind of neat and fun to find out.
Those are the people I want to hear from the most. Tell
me too.
I want to hear from the haters. Tell me what you despise about the show, where we're wrong on something, and correct me, because I want to be wrong about most of the issues we cover. But I just find it interesting that the 4-way stop over by Walmart was supposed to be a stoplight so long ago. And what was it, 2 episodes ago we talked about it, going, why? Yeah. And now, is it true? There's construction going on it? They're doing it?
I haven't been out there yet, but the rumor is that it's finally going up. No, but it was the same thing with the Starbond stuff. We had been writing it for a while. Yep. Nothing going on out there, and then the vote came up to extend their tax credit out there, and we got on it again. Next thing you know, they're doing dirt work again, and they put up a fence, maybe, I think, but I don't think anything else has been done since. So,
moving some dirt.
They are tearing down the Heritage Inn next to Parrot Cove.
They're tearing it down?
They are tearing it down.
Man, I still have... Isn't the Parrot Cove still open, though? Because I still have some Parrot Cove.
Parrot Cove is still open, and it'll remain open. It's just the hotel that's going down.
But, torn down.
Part of that... the world... That was it, World of Sports, Sports of the World, or whatever. The complex that's supposed to be built out there. It's supposed to have a trampoline park in it.
That Parrot Cove will stay open without the hotel, though?
Well, they're putting the trampoline park that was supposed to go into Sports of the World next door to Parrot Cove. So, I don't know. Kind of a what situation, what like
so we gotta save the property.
I think the biggest thing. Amy Warfield says, when I was at Downtown Vision, I said in a meeting when they were studying it to just put in a light. Yeah, she's talking about the stoplight there. It's so dangerous. You know what I mean? There's 5-6
incredibly
lanes
wide. Yes.
I'm a huge advocate of roundabouts, personally.
Same.
Yeah.
I know in our town especially, it would throw everybody off for a little while.
Everybody hates them.
I don't know how a roundabout would be coming straight in off of the highway. That's a high rate of speed.
Maybe, slow down, and I'm not saying right there is the best one, but there's also roundabouts on the highway. But
yeah, they have
somewhere like 5 Points. Imagine never having to stop at 5 Points. You just went through and then exited at the street that you needed to go to.
Yeah, it would probably make sense.
How many times do you go to 5 Points and there's nobody there and unless it's like 5 o'clock in the evening or whatever, and you just sit there and you sit there. I hate 5 Points so much.
It's not that we hate it.
Campus.
It's just
you guys ruined campus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Hayes has had a meltdown about them. Where are you at?
I like it too.
That meltdown is going to happen no matter what. No matter what. I promise you that meltdown is going to happen.
Well, but like if we want to talk about statistics and safety.
We changed campus and we had a meltdown here about it.
Yeah.
So everybody's gonna have.
We have 2 bike lanes on campus, and I am yet to see.
I was like, every time we start to do something, it's half-assed, and then.
Why the fuck do you need 2 bike lanes on a street that used to be 40 miles an hour? You can't go 40 down it anymore because nobody goes 40 on it.
Well, I don't know. With the development that's going on there and, the through street, I think it's going to be a little interesting to see what happens at that intersection. Now, because it's kind of off and away from Harding Street.
That intersection, it won't be biking. There will be no biking.
But they'll be on the sidewalk, I don't know. I don't get it either, but I think that intersection is going to be pretty crazy. And yes, Drake. Yep. Yep, that's Troy for you. And we do.
Troy. All right,
we do have some news.
Hands off.
We do have some news about Troy Unruh. This last Tuesday.
I was forgetting.
Yes, Mr. Troy Unruh. If you remember him, we've talked about him. You've seen memes on our page. He is a Garden City commissioner. He's a youth minister at the Church of Nazarene. He sells insurance, and he is heavily involved in health coalitions and rights grants and so on and so forth. So, as a city commissioner, you get to vote and approve on grants and things, and it's that time of the year. So, someone may correct me if you're wrong. I'm just going off of memory, guys. We didn't super prepare for this show tonight. We've been busy, but we wanted to come out and say hey to you guys. So if I'm wrong about something, please correct us in the comments and let us know. So there is a alcohol tax funding. Alcohol's taxed in the county, and that money comes back to the city, so the city can put it into places for prevention. And you have to be able to prove that you're doing classes and things and so on and so forth and apply for this funding. Well, Troy, through the Nazarene Church, applied for where he works as a youth minister, applied for $6,000 of this grant money for his church and voted on it and approved.
He applied for the grant that he got to vote on whether it got. You know what?
Called AFAC is the.
You can hate on it all you want. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on us, really. And it's not shame on us because we just host a stupid podcast and don't have any
And I was
power
like,
whatsoever.
in the first half, first half of that,
right.
I've done grant writing and stuff before.
Shame on every one of those commissioners who didn't say, Troy, shouldn't you abstain from this one?
Mm-hmm.
Every one of those commissioners know where he works, knows what he does, knows the money that he has fucking stolen from this city.
Yeah.
And still didn't say a word. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. You can't call yourself the good guy and sit in the face of the bad guy and say nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
It's just, it's gross. We have to vote him out. I hope he doesn't run again when that time comes. We got to get good candidates to run for city commission as well. People that want to be a little bit more involved and, what? What was that? I don't know.
You've been taking ventriloquist classes or what?
No, just Adobe Premiere.
YouTube University.
YouTube University. What would we do without YouTube these days, guys? I mean, bro.
I'd probably go to college.
All my plants would be dead.
Could you imagine what poverty would be like if you couldn't just DIY everything? You know what I mean? Thanks to YouTube. And I guess TikTok now.
I don't know.
I guess we should talk a little bit about... We should talk a little bit about TikTok too, since it's been in the news this week. Have you guys been following that along at all?
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm pro TikTok. I like it.
I am pro TikTok as well.
It's a Chinese company and I don't want to mess with it. And old and don't want to learn a new social media platform.
I don't want Zuckerberg to have that information because he uses it to target ads at us. But
yes,
TikTok doesn't seem to do that. It's just kind of the same ads for everybody and whatnot, and the algorithm's so much better.
I saw a statistic about it the other day.
Designs its algorithms to tell you what to think and what to like and whatnot, and TikTok. It learns what you like and feeds you more of it. That's why
I saw a statistic about TikTok that was really fascinating to me. Is it's becoming the #1 search engine.
Well,
it's growing exponentially at being the #1 search engine. So people are going onto TikTok.
Well, American companies
for research
have abused people's trust so many times. How many times has Google and Apple and so many companies been fined time and time again for abuse of privacy privileges? And
not only about that, but censorship is a big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Censorship is a big part of it. So when you're trying to look for information, which I hear all the time, I learned this from TikTok. So it's like, whatever your opinion, people are it's the shortened version of a YouTube video where you can,
Mhm.
at least it spurs topics for the brain to consider so that you can go look for it elsewhere. But a lot of people are learning things that they wouldn't otherwise get to see because it's not prohibited for whatever reason. And like Zach said, if you want to see it, today in my YouTube, I got some stuff that I know that, I mean, I know that I've said don't show me this stuff before. And it's like just still aggressively, I don't care.
Yeah.
We want you to view these videos. And
Right, right. Well, I mean, even outside of that, like, if you want to fix a washing machine, you go on YouTube and you type in change tub basin or whatever, but people are using TikTok for that now because, I mean, with YouTube, you can find the video, but it's going to be, 20, 30 minutes long. On TikTok, you get, 3 minutes at most, to get your video, your content out there. So, I mean, that's another thing, too, is that it's quicker and more upfront and focused on the information that you need and cuts out all the bullshit, I guess.
And right now they're working on an algorithm to expand the length of TikTok videos, because there is a lot of part 2 stuff going on and things like that. But
and CEO of
I
TikTok
just wanted
scheduled to go in front of
on
Congress.
the Chinese owned part, and therefore it could be Chinese spyware on your phone. I just want to remind everybody where all of your phones are made, and if there was something in your phone that was a direct wire of all the data to China, you'd never know because you have no idea what any of that is or what it does or anything like that. So, by all means, buy an American-made phone. I dare you to. I'd like to see where you get it, frankly, because it
So
doesn't exist.
while we're on the subject of national news, Trump over the weekend, was it over the weekend or was it last week? I can't remember. Trump at some point in time tweeted out or truthered out or whatever they call Truth Social that he was going to be arrested yesterday. And yesterday came and went, and it didn't happen. And Wednesday came and went, no indictments came down the pipeline. It's been kind of fun watching GOP Twitter. They're blowing up and blaming the media, saying, oh, they lied to us again. Trump didn't get arrested. It's like it came from Trump himself,
The
and people
media
have just
glommed
reported it.
onto it and repeated it.
Well,
repeatedly.
sure. I mean, that's what sells.
Well, I shouldn't say no due diligence. Some networks did some due diligence and said, "Yeah, we don't have any basis on this outside of this one truth."
Oh, they're going back to the grand jury to talk, or they're doing this. I don't know. I'm so tired of the Trump conversation myself with him going to jail. I'm tired of anything Trump.
Jail. It's just not gonna.
He's
happen.
never. No. If he goes to jail, the rest of them have to go to jail. And that's
it's just like nothing's ever gonna happen to Troy. I literally sat in a room full of racists this weekend. I shouldn't say they were all racist. That's not fair. But I did listen to a lady make racist comments, and a room full of white people remained silent about it, and it was gross. I said something. I spoke out about it, and I was told that if I spoke out again, that I would not be allowed in anymore. And nothing was said to her, and she didn't even ask a question. She just said her comments about school. The big conversation was this school voucher program that got voted in most likely is going to be vetoed by. Has she already vetoed it? I haven't heard that she has.
Okay, I was like, I saw an article about a veto, but I don't think that was the thing.
So, I mean, we have the whole clip. If we want to play it, it's like 3 minutes long. But the bigger point is nobody said anything at the moment but me. But I had multiple people tell me afterwards that I wasn't wrong, but the way I handled it was. And to those people I say, if the way I handle things bother you, I definitely invite you to do it your way because it's clearly better than mine. But
Well,
what
in
I
this
I'll sorry, go
in
ahead.
this instance, the moderator should have shut her down long before you spoke up. In my opinion, there, he didn't keep control of the situation on something that is a very, very. I don't know. I don't think it's right for people to be able to get up and just start spouting off whatever they want to. Either, you know what I mean? I think there should be some type of fact base, or if you're quoting something, you should have what the article is that you're quoting, and not just say I found it online, type of thing. I don't know. Everything was so far off, and like the next guy that spoke after that situation happened, they spent a ton of time discussing something that isn't going to become a bill anyway. And for this lady to get up and go
They
out
may
of
get
her
real
way,
close to being able to override the veto, if I understand correctly. It most likely won't happen, but it could if two people are pressured into it, I believe.
I think it was 3, but I don't think it's
Three?
gonna
Okay.
happen from the 3 that are the ones that are available. They're not gonna flip their vote, and I don't know. There's been so much negative reaction to this bill. Like Representative Williams, I can't think of her first name, went home in Augusta over the weekend and took part in a social hosted by teachers, and they put her on the spot and they called her out for her vote and for her support of SB 83. Those people in that update aren't groups. Yeah, that's true too. And Zach does need security around him. I think one of these days.
I don't need no security.
I don't know. Things are we're calling to go scorched earth and things. There's a lot of extremism out there. Take things too far, I suppose.
By all means, if somebody can call these things out more professionally than I can, let's go.
No, I think you did a good job. Like I said, I think she was allowed to speak for too long, and her conversation was driving to that point. And I think you could kind of tell in it where she was going. And shame on the moderator, in my opinion, for not shutting that down and
a simple
holding decorum.
Do you have a question? What has stopped it all?
Yeah, holding decorum before it was allowed to get to the point that it was, and good on you for speaking up and shutting her down. We have a thriving Hispanic community, and they've been a part of this community for a very long time, and our teachers are fully integrated in this community. Many of them are them, and it just to segment them out and say they're not able to adapt to our culture, and our teachers are struggling with that. Maybe some of the raise money that we're voting for should go into programs for this, which is absolutely ridiculous. Anyway,
that's one of those. That's a scapegoat. You don't care about this thing. You care about this other thing, and they're using this thing. As a way to wrap that up. I mean, they had the debate at the legislative table, and so I'm not sure why it got brought back to that, or what the question was.
Well, there was
the question, right? Was she supposed to say, have you considered these factors? Which,
Yeah, it was a tough argument. Bob Lewis didn't do very well up there either. The other 3 representatives, senators in our area, were against the bill, and they had good reasons why. And one of them was oversight and accountability, and I think Bob Lewis's retraction to that was the treasurer has oversight and accountability on these schools, which is insane. It's a lot of accountability.
Yeah. And then they're triple dipping with the funds. And I like that they all had to give this caveat that I do believe in giving teachers more money. I do believe in, making sure that these programs are funded. But what this bill is doing is, pulling too many things in that are harmful overall. And it's done in such a way where if I'm voting no, then apparently that means I don't support raising the salaries for teachers. So it's I'm glad that they made sure to point out the differences.
Well,
But it's really frustrating that it's always framed that way.
Well, that's what's so wrong
shouldn't be
with
that
so many bills.
complicated. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, that's what's so wrong with so many bills in Kansas is they stuff so many things into one thing, one bill. Instead of a bill being a one line item, we're going to give teachers raises. And so everybody can vote on giving teachers raises. We have to put in all these other aspects to it. So there's discord, and we end up not getting teachers raises because they want Walgreens to quit selling abortion pills or whatever.
The way that they create a solution so that a problem, like to backstep to a problem, so that they're proactively making sure that nobody can do this thing. So they're creating a problem in order to have.
That's exactly what happened today on House Bill 2313, which was creating a Born Alive Infant Protection Act to provide legal protections for infants who are born alive regardless of the intent of the delivery. This thing was a distraction bill. So basically they're saying you can't kill a baby after it was born alive after.
You already can't do that.
That's murder.
It's a federal offense. It's federal offense. It's a distraction bill. And, they're doing it for campaign fodder. And this is what our taxpayer dollars are going to.
Bill,
this was today.
Now we
they
have
yeeted the good things.
They didn't even yeet it because then they would have to vote in order to do that. No, they refused to talk about it.
They tabled it.
They tabled it, which means that it will never be discussed this session, which...
We're going to talk about it for a news cycle and then...
and also while we're talking about racism,
about that anymore.
In the budget today, the Kansas Senate approved a budget plan that includes a provision for prohibiting state universities from using diversity, equity, and inclusion standards in hiring procedures. It's really broad. It's very unnecessary.
Okay, say that again.
Okay, so the Kansas State Senate approved a budget plan that includes a provision for prohibiting state universities from using diversity, equity, and inclusion standards in hiring processes.
It's supposed to be one thing, but it's saying the other thing. I'm not quite sure.
Right. Well, yeah, you can't.
It's like, is that not already a thing?
It's like right to hire. It's right to hire. I think it's what do you call the affirmative action? I think it kind of plays into that a little bit there. Yeah, where hey, my Burmese population has increased, and maybe sort of diversify a little bit, and I hire a Burmese person, I might have better success rates at that. So, it's basically prohibiting the university from looking at that aspect of things, as well, which is what the big is about this vision in there. So we've got that going on.
Does it look like
and
that
again,
one's gonna pass?
I don't think it's so. I mean, there's so many things going on. With the budget. That was the other thing too, is there were like 20 some odd provisions or things like that, and they're supposed to have testimony for that, and a lot of things got rushed and did not. have
what did I
testimony
bring up?
or even discussion that they're putting jamming into this thing this year. It's really wild.
Today they
circus in Topeka right now with what they're doing up there. Again, they rejected a plan to expand Medicare. That's gone.
Yes, and the part where they chopped up this bill about the opioid crisis, it had in that that we were going to decriminalize fentanyl strips, and that they were going to have a committee and investigation on. Excuse me.
Well, they voted against funding Narcan for schools.
They voted on the bill, but then they chopped it up.
That's the whole thing, though. With Medicare, with how much they refuse to do Medicaid expansion, it's so clear that it doesn't matter what type of medicine can help people in what way. They don't care if you have it or not, because there's literally, we don't have to put a label on it. We could literally just provide whatever poor people medicine they can't afford. We could just provide that through Medicaid expansion, but they refuse to do that. So there's really no expectation for them to care about medical marijuana. They don't care about those patients. There's no expectation for them to expect every EMT and police officer to have Narcan in their vehicle, because they don't care.
I don't care.
There's no reason to even discuss the whole idea of having methadone clinics, because
That would not.
that's never going to affect them. And if it does affect them or a family member, they have the money to send them to a private clinic for that. It's
Right.
never going to damage their lives, the people that are voting on these things. They just
they can
see it as
travel
a
to another
handout that
state.
they're eventually going to have to pay for, because their taxes might go up $20.
Which is crazy, because most of these social programs, I can't remember why I ended up looking up this statistic for it. Had to have done with like agribills and food stamps and stuff. But apparently, all of the social programs are basically rolled into one fee, and it on for like the median average family who makes like 70K, it contributes like $6 to the social welfare programs. So it otherwise they're going to pay about $6,000 a year in their taxes to other corporations and to subsidies where they're given to corporations for tax breaks, things like that. So it was an interesting thing to find that. I was looking it up for another reason, but I was like, of course, that's how little we give of our own money. I told somebody, you let me know what you'd like me to buy for that $6 and I'll go
And the
and get
majority of our constituents care so little that Medicaid expansion wouldn't cost us anything. It would give us, I think it's up to $1 billion now that we've missed out on. I don't know. I haven't looked at those numbers in a long time, because it was just clear it wasn't going to happen. But yeah, millions of dollars every year we miss out on because we're just stubborn. And so it doesn't matter if it's $6 or literally gives your state millions of dollars. If we're against it, we're against it. And it does. They don't care
morally.
who it benefits and who it just it. God, George Carlin always just rings in my head. It's a big old club, and you ain't in it.
You ain't in
And
it.
because you ain't in it, we don't care about you.
Yeah, a $2,000 raise is a slap to the face of the teachers. Bernie
It
put
should
a
be a
bill
whole
in.
lot more. That's
It was at 60,000, I think, was the minimum for a teacher, which I still think is a little low. But
Hell,
it's
we're
a hell of
still
a lot
fighting
higher
for
than what
15
they're
an
at.
hour,
Yeah,
and that's the minimum wage that needs to be more like 26 at this point.
yeah. 15 doesn't even make sense anymore. You know, it's
No,
people still get mad when you say it, but you know, it's not even relevant to the
people get mad
conversation.
when I say a lot of things.
yeah.
That's why you need security.
Hey, I mean, if people watch and think I need security, and the words that you hear at those legislative coffees, it happens. This is literally the second time in my life that I've heard racist comments at one of these legislative coffees. The only reason we're covering it this time is because there's not a newspaper there reporting on these events like there used to be. Back when Steve Alford made his racist comments about African Americans and marijuana, and just in a response to a question, it became a big news article, and it's because we had news coverage out here, and I didn't have to do anything outside of ask a question. And now, when these things happen at legislative coffees, if we're not there, the people who don't believe in these types of things, remember, there was a room full of white people that said nothing. So if you don't agree with those types of things, we got to start going to these events. We got to start visiting our legislative. If you're not willing to run, at least be willing to talk to the people that are running and hold office, and hold them to account.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if there is a demand for decorum and for people behaving with etiquette, then that should be across the board.
I'm not
And so not,
encouraging
like
outbursts
I
like
don't know if
mine.
it was scandalous because you said bullshit or what the thing was, but I was listening to it and thinking in my head screaming, first of all, what is she on about? Because it's like the phrases didn't make sense altogether, and I couldn't get past the parts where she, you know, didn't know how to discuss the topic. And then again at the end thinking, do you even have a question? And then I hear your voice and I was like, oh God, thank you. I don't, like, what are we? And then, yeah, it just, and then she said, I wasn't trying to be racist or whatever.
Or whatever.
Or whatever really got me too.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I mean, we're not even, I don't even think we're saying you were trying to be racist or whatever. The issue is, what are you trying to say? Because the words you're using sound
She
like
didn't even
racism.
know.
And what are we discussing then if if we're not going to demand the decorum of our own speech? Like I in those situations, I want to ask that lady genuinely, what were you trying to communicate? Because can we go back to like what you were trying to communicate? Because I'm trying to understand how it came out the way that it came out.
Well,
Because
that's what
what
was
do
so
you
frustrating is the moderator and people in charge of the event were like, whoa, you got to stop that. You can't do that. Please, ma'am, continue saying what we all know here is wrong.
Right? Is it because you interrupted? Like, are we all going to get paddles now so that we can like, can we start like snapping if there's a topic that should be interrupted? I mean, like I was trying to think about how other people are having discussions and things, and it goes back and forth. Sometimes the audience, participates with sounds, and sometimes the people on the panel go back and forth a little bit. Like I understand that everybody's trying to be kind and give time to these questions and issues and everything, and I think for the most part people do a great job.
And it's great that these events happen so that you get to see the people who represent you and get to ask them a question. But I when I go, I always have a question in mind. I'll always ask a question if there's time for them to call on me, and I don't require it by any means because there's not always time, and I usually ask one. So if there's more questions than what I have, great. But for somebody to monopolize that rare amount of time that you get to state their own opinions when they don't hold any legislative power,
right, ma'am, that could have been an email,
and it needs to, somebody needs to stop it. And I won't tolerate racism in front of me. I feel like I have a moral responsibility to call it out when you see it. I have the power of voice. I'm not afraid to use it, and I have the responsibility to use it when it's needed. And I felt like it was needed at that point in time.
Yeah.
And somebody had to say that's not okay, because nobody's ever told that woman before, those comments are wrong, and you need to think about them. Maybe they sound racist or whatever. And yes, because I said bullshit, and that was the worst thing that came out of anybody's mouth at that moment.
So rude. So rude.
Yeah, bullshit is the problem there.
Well, we're proud of you, Zach, and I think a lot of people in the community.
Some of my articles have generated national news.
Yeah, that's true. Steve Alford was one.
That was international.
Yeah, that thing went all over the place.
I think that people like. I think that I don't know if it's like people. I was going to say in the city. That's probably rude too. I think that people are like, oh, that doesn't happen near us. Like, we're so mature and progressive and grown and stuff. And so we don't, nobody has to deal with that out here. And I think that we just forget that there are regions where that stuff is so, like you said, it's just like allowed to occur because nobody knows what to say. I find it difficult myself because my face turns red when I'm embarrassed. And so if I got called out or like argued with after I had said something or like reprimanded, I'd be like, oh my God, I'm sorry. Because it makes me feel bad. I have great guilty feelings, but I would love to be more, at least just to make an interruption. Do you have a question, ma'am?
Right.
Ma'am, that could have been an email.
Right.
Ma'am, this is, this is not the
no
area.
that our minority population doesn't want to go to events like that. What kind of representation was there for you in that room? It was 4 old white guys telling you about how they're going to make decisions for your life in a room full of white people.
And the same people that always go.
Yeah,
it's not,
most of them financially benefit from a lot of those decisions that are made, or have strong religious opinions about those decisions that are made. Mm-hmm. And so there's very little representation outside of that demographic. Yeah. There's me, and that's not always true. There are very nice people that come up to me after these events and thank me for comments and things, and I appreciate the hell out of those people because I feed on that stuff. That lets me know I'm doing the right thing, and it keeps me coming back for more.
Yeah,
I feel like if
I want to
we
be a disruptor at everything like this. It's not my goal to be a disruptor, but I'm not afraid to be. Sorry,
we are.
Interrupted.
That's who we are. That's what we are. We can't help it. And we're gonna be that. Whether it's here on the show or if Zach's at a meeting. Representing us, or Caitlin, or myself.
That's why we have a whole Super Mad segment.
That's what we're going to do, which you didn't let me finish my thought and didn't let us get to play the clip tonight. I was so excited, Zach. We even talked about it.
Damn, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so we're going to do things a little bit different. Like Zach said at the beginning of the show, if you're just catching up now, we didn't cover events. We're going to put a poll out there to see if you guys even care for covering events. If we do stop, though, we do want nonprofits and things like that to come on the show and talk about what they're doing and let us help promote what you've got going on. If you need a video ad, flyer, hit one of us up. Let us know. If you want to advertise your business on the show, let us know. We're happy to do that. Do you guys have any final thoughts before we go?
Oh, let's thank a sponsor. We got a couple sponsors to thank.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll throw it up one more time. We've got Dude Smell This LLC at 920 East Grand, Hayesville, Kansas. All your CBD needs you can get at dudesmellthisllc.com.
Check their website out.
Absolutely. And Facebook.
Yeah, their Facebook
you can
page.
find them there.
Yeah,
they're real active on Facebook. And we also had one more sponsor tonight we want to give a quick shout out to before we go. We'll just play it twice. Why not? Let's do it. It's new.
I like the
Absolutely.
place.
That's Trevino's
I love the bass.
Barbershop. Google Trevino's Barbershop and click book schedule now.
Book schedule now. Makes it easy,
yeah.
right?
Schedule now.
Yeah. I love the
it's
bass and
getting
drum
late.
track.
We're at the
You
end
know,
of the
too.
show.
I know.
Yeah.
I like.
Thank you for hanging out. Whether you love us or hate us, we'll see you again next week. Support us by stopping by buymeacoffee.com/CKZ show. We'll see you next week, guys.
With great power, great responsibility. Thwip, thwip.